Good evening. This is a special call meeting of the Board of Trustees of United ISD. Today is Monday, May the 4th, and the time is 6:11. We are present at the Student Activity Complex. Item number 1, roll call. Mr. Rodriguez.
Doug Gilpin.
Present.
Alisa Oliveros.
Present.
Ricardo Molina.
Present.
Ramiro Vélez III.
Present.
Juan Roberto Ramírez.
Present.
Ricardo Rick Rodriguez, present. We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor.
For the record, Javier Montemayor. I hereby call this meeting to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Agenda item number 4, action item, approval of resolution to approve immediate implementation of Texas Education Code Section 12.104.
This is a resolution in support of, actually, it's Senate Bill 149, and what I understand, it's on the governor's desk, ready for signature. TASB's trying to get as many people to support it in order for it to become effective, possibly by this year.
It's not on, David. It's not on. It's not on, David.
Yes,
There you go.
There you go.
our main copies for you right now. Apologize for the inconvenience. Mema Leza is going to present a presentation to you, a short presentation. In a nutshell, what this bill is in trying to help our students across the state. As you know, at the high school level, there's 5 end-of-course exams that students have to test, to start tests. With that said, what this bill is trying to do is help our students, if they pass a minimum of 3 of the 5 STAR tests, a committee will be joined at the campus level, and after a student conducts a project that we provided for the student to work on, if the student can then recommend whether that student can graduate or not. Now, just for the record, we met back in March. Our principals at the high school, Ms. Barrera, Ms. Leza, we've already gotten the ball going. We're all identified at each campus those students that were lacking, any of the STAR tests to graduate. Now, these will be our seniors that have already complied with the requirements, coursework. So it's addressing the fact that they're lacking 2, 3 STAR tests. Once they're eligible, as earlier, the campus already provided the list. They're already working with the kids. And it is in the governor's desk as we speak. We're hoping to get that word by the end of this week. Now, in the meantime, we're not waiting. Afternoon, and the PowerPoint, which we presented right now, Ms. Leza, was actually presented to our cabinet members this afternoon. Ms. Leza? Thank you.
Mr. Zamora, if you can upload the SB 149, please. Good evening, board members. We are running copies. The information that we have here is based on what is on the governor's desk right now. Did you need something, Mr.?
Lights, the lights.
Okay.
Can turn off the lights over here.
Mr. Gonzalez is bringing copies for you. Okay. Yes, thank you. Based on this law, UISD must convene individual graduation committees at each high school. They have to review the seniors who have failed no more than 2 of the 5 end-of-course exams. The IGCs must ensure that the eligible students have completed the curriculum requirements for the Foundation High School program, and they must recommend additional requirements for each failed end-of-course test for a subject. These requirements include additional remediation and either completion of a project or preparation of a portfolio for the subject area the student failed. Okay. The IGCs must consider the following in determining whether the student is qualified to graduate. They're going to look at the teacher recommendation. This is from the teacher that taught them the course which they already passed for the end-of-course test that they failed. They have to look at the scores, their performance in additional academic courses, the hours of remediation that the students have taken, attendance and successful completion of any college courses they may have taken in reading and math, and the student's attendance rate. Additional considerations are how they've scored in the Texas Success Initiative assessment. Have they completed dual credit courses, pre-AP or AP courses? If the students are English language learners, if they've reached advanced high on TELPAS, if they have scores or what their scores are on the ACT or ACT assessments, completion of career and technology program courses required to attain an industry-recognized certificate, overall preparedness for post-secondary success, and this post-secondary success could be at a junior college, at a four-year college, or even the workforce, and any other academic information pertinent to graduation readiness. The district superintendent is required to approve the procedures for convening the IGCs as well as a timeline, both of which were presented to Mr. Santos this afternoon. Districts are required to make good faith effort in notifying the parents of the meetings that are going to happen rather quickly, and the IGCs, these committees are to include the principal or designee, the teacher of each relevant end-of-course course, parent or guardian of or a designated advocate for the student, or the student if they are 18 or older.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the IGC, that stands for Individual
Graduation Committee.
Graduation Committee.
Uh-huh.
So it consists of these 3.
It consists, those are the ones that are stipulated by law, but we can, as a district, add additional.
No, well, that's fine. My question is, if one of the members is it could actually be the student, is that an actual member who has voting authority?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
good.
they do.
That's good.
Yes,
So they
but they must be 18 or be emancipated.
but if it's not them, it could be their parent. or
Their
guardian.
parents, right.
Good.
Now, other requirements, the students must continue to retake the assessments. And in fact, this week, they will be taking their end-of-course assessments that they're missing. Districts will be held accountable for the retests and keeping up with state accountability. And by December 1st, as a district, we must report to the state through PEAMS the number of students who have met the IGC graduation requirement. These committees, the Individual Graduation Committee, can authorize eligible students to graduate if the committee decision is unanimous. So everybody in that committee must say, yes, the student meets the graduation. If the student has passed all curriculum requirements for graduation as per State Board of Education rule, and the students must be in their 12th year to be able to be graduating. SB 149 is effective immediately once the governor signs. So that's why we are on a timeline to make sure that we've covered everything for every student who is eligible. And you have with you the copy of the timeline. Can you change the timeline, please? Okay. Oh, okay, let me just tell you this last slide, I'm sorry. Back in March, when we got more information that it had already passed the Senate and it was going to the House, we went ahead and we did some data analysis, and we found 207 students of the class of 2015. And we looked at, okay, what do they need in order to graduate? We're looking right now that we have about 184 students that could be looked at from the IGC as of now. We have another 23 students that are pending 3 exams. So when we met with principals, they were charged with ensuring that their tutorials were focused on that test that they were almost passing, that they were just a few questions away, so that we could get them to the 2, and then we can consider them for IGC.
Ms. Leza, right now, we have 184 students. If the governor signs a bill and the students meet the other requirements,
Right.
we have 184 students that will be able to graduate
Right,
and walk at our graduation.
in June,
We
yes.
still have 23 district-wide pending passing at least.
They need to pass at least
pass
one more.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the board
Yes.
What would-
understands.
I'm
the
sorry?
numbers.
Then why, I guess, why take the test? Why take the STAR test? Just get,
Well, they have to take it because
they have to have a failing
they have to
grade?
have it, And it's mandated. That mandate has not moved. We must continue to test until the day that they graduate. So they'll have this next week
Are you
to
talking
take
about
those assessments.
12th grade year or enough credits to be considered a senior, or do they have to actually be in their 12th
They
grade year?
actually have to have their credits already to be a senior. So we've got to make sure, first of all, that they have their credits, that they're seniors, and second of all, that they're only missing no more than 2 end-of-course assessments.
2 out of 5.
2 out of the 5, yes.
They have to meet all standards of all the coursework and everything to graduate, to be able to graduate. Have all the required English, math, and sciences.
Mm-hmm. All of the
and
required
stuff, yes.
courses.
So this would be the only thing impeding them from
Right.
graduating.
It
So
would
when-
be very similar to when we had tax, you know how we would bring
Right.
you the retesters and the retesters, very similar to that group. They've met all their graduation requirements except for the assessment. So now with SB 149, if they're only pending 2 assessments, that individual graduation committee can consider all of their work, everything they've done in their 4 years of high school, to see if they meet and they merit graduation.
And that's on the governor's desk right now.
Right now, yes. In fact, we got an email with the link to his office so that we can
So as soon
start
as-
flooding his email with, please sign.
That'd be
Yes.
awesome. I'm 100% for it.
Yes. What we have also is the timeline, if we show you that, and that you have a copy of, and you'll see why we're on such a fast track here. We presented, we updated the campus data for the students that are classified as 12th graders today. We also are presenting here to the board. We will meet with principals again on Wednesday, and just to update their lists so that they can start having their meetings as soon as May 7th. Now, one of the criteria is that they complete a project. It was 2 things, a project or a portfolio. As we discussed, we feel that instructionally, a project will be something that we can put a rubric to, something that we can have a grade for them. So we want them to pull out the students on May 7th, as many as possible, to begin so that they can complete their project. And then as soon as those are completing, we start with those committee meetings, May 7th through the 20th, so that we can take care of all of those 184 students.
Did you consider the timeline for that project? We're in
Yes.
crunch time with graduation. So
Yes.
is that project, let's say, give me an example of one of the
It's not going
projects.
to be lengthy.
Okay.
We got feedback from one of our coordinators who teaches at the college and say, look, we have this core project. This is how we base placement. So we're looking at that. We're making sure that it meets the criteria for our students, and we're going to have a project for every one of the 5 end of course, because we need to make sure that it is per EOC that they failed.
That is what, I'm sorry, say that again?
They have to have a project for each end of course that they failed, so max 2 projects is what they'll have to have.
But you said something else after that.
That we're going to make sure that they're not lengthy projects, that
Okay.
it's something that can be taken care of within 1-2 days. Attainable for kids. Yes, attainable for them.
Good.
Right.
Very good.
There might be students with doing 2 projects then?
Yes, there might be, because that's who we can consider for this graduation. At most 2 end of course failures.
On the timeline for May 7, 20, it states, once the bill is signed by the governor,
Yes,
campus IGC will hold meetings with the parents of current eligible students only. Excuse me, and only means up to 2
end of course assessments.
EOC.
Yes. So if we have students that are missing 3, like those 23 that were missing 3, we're not going to hold the meetings with them yet. They'll have to take their end of course, see if they pass them. Then, once they're eligible with only missing 2, then we will meet with that group. And that's actually going to take place May 22nd through the 29th. That's when we receive our results.
Good.
Okay?
And if they have to do a project, they'll have
They'll
time to
do it.
Okay.
They'll do
All
it.
right.
They are just so eager to
Yes,
meet their
so are we.
graduation
We're eager
requirements.
for them as well.
And for the record, when we come to the project, we discussed actually this afternoon, we're going to make sure that we're going to have like a pull-out system, so we have a teacher with those students.
I was going to ask
To
that too,
assist
but
them.
I wasn't
We're
sure if
gonna
that was
guide 'em.
allowable. So they will
Santos
have,
said it best earlier this afternoon. The whole objective of this bill is to assist those kids to graduate, and that's our job. We're going to
Yes.
do everything in our power to help our kids graduate.
thank you, we appreciate that.
But let's not handicap them either. You
No,
know,
we're
I
not
want to
gonna
make sure
do
that the
that.
rigor, that the rigor is there still, that the projects, you know, just not give them a,
No,
you know,
actually,
do it in one day type
because
thing.
in our district, we still handle the 4x4. They have to take 4 science, 4 English, 4 math, and 4 social studies. That's part of the requirement that they must meet.
They're
They
meeting the
must,
requirement of all their coursework. This is only addressing the kids that have failed.
The end of
to-
course.
End of course,
Just the
exactly. That's it.
test itself.
right,
But
just
they
the
comply
test
with everything
itself.
else.
I don't disagree with the concept. I just kind of question the fairness of, what about those kids who did pass and that were prepared, these kids are getting a different route.
I think-
And I just, that's the only thing. I don't know too much about it yet, but I'm sure we'll find out as it goes
I think the
along.
diploma will be, won't you share with them what we'll have on the diploma?
They won't have a recommended ADAPT or a minimum. They're going to go under the new diploma system, which is the Foundation High School program. But again, we've kept the rigor, we've kept the Algebra 2, we've kept the English 4, because we believe that that's what they need in order to go to college, to university. Not all districts have that, but we are one that kept it.
So if they completed that, then they're ready.
They're completed
ready.
with everything. The only thing that's holding them back is an
Is the
assessment.
test.
Right.
And we know that
Right,
not
and not
everybody's a
all
good
students are
test
good
taker.
test takers.
Right,
The nerves,
right.
we've seen it
Anxiety,
all,
mhm.
yes. Okay.
Thank you.
So
I don't know.
there will be nothing like that would be for them, hurting them. I mean, it's not inventing the wheel, but
No.
since they already have the first of the,
Right.
before the graduation and all the data that has to be inputted here, and by a certain date, and the mission of some of the EOC exams to graduate, they
Right.
still have the sufficient to graduate, right?
They have met all of the graduation requirements except for those 2 end-of-course assessments.
So
And
this-
part of the documentation that we are requiring is their test scores, their history in assessment, their history in their attendance, the history for their courses. So we are looking to make sure that they have met everything else with the exception of those 2 end-of-course assessments.
Do you know why this, at the last moment, the Senate bill was approved?
This bill it was initiated in November, but it has been going from the House to the Senate to make sure they've tweaked it, they've changed it along the way. That's why today we were, rushing to make sure we had everything that the new state law says, because that is the one that's on his desk right now. But it has evolved. Why he has not signed it, we understand that he's had the bill since Thursday evening. Okay, so we don't know why it hasn't been signed, but the majority of the House and the majority of the Senate passed the bill. So their committees, everybody has already passed it.
Thank you.
And we're just waiting. As soon as it gets going, we're going to start. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5, do we need to approve it? We make a motion to approve, I make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? The approval of the resolution passes. Agenda item number 5, board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act, A 551.071 and 551.074. Time is now 6:23. We will be back in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
We're back from closed session. Number 5.
Consideration of the appointment of the principal. My recommendation is Raquel Alvarado.
So moved.
Second.
Any, any comments? Those in favor? Passes. Number 2, consideration of,
Yes. Consideration of the appointment of the Executive Director for Special Ed. My recommendation is Cynthia Ramirez.
so move.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor? Passes.
The last recommendation is the administration recommends to propose the non-renewal of Santa Sestu's classroom teacher's term contract and designate Madeline Escoto to be the board-appointed attorney for any non-renewal non-renewal terminations at the end of the school year.
Motion to approve.
Councilor? So move. Approve. All those in favor? Passes. To adjourn?